Welcome into the Gabe Swartz Show here on KC Sports Night at KCTV5. A Red Friday. I'm Jared Koller. That's Neal Jones. And if you look at the picture that you just saw on the screen, Neal,
look at that.
What's up with that, man?
I look like, okay, he died 4 years ago. Do you remember Neal? Look, I'm ugly.
It's a tough draw.
But I'm not that old looking, am I? I mean,
yeah, there's better pictures out there. There's worse pictures out there, but there's better. So I don't know what you did to graphics, but Gabe also has a bone to
graphics did
pick.
that? No, I've been mean to graphics over the years. So that's probably what that's about.
They still haven't included Gabe on this graphic, and he's been this. It's the Gabe Swartz Show, and yet he's not on there. So I don't know. I appreciate graphics.
I'm begging Gabe to grow his hair out and get it colored with some tips and stuff so he looks younger. I think that's what he needs to do. He's getting married.
Some frosted
he's going to want
tips
that.
in sync.
Yes,
maybe?
that's exactly right.
I don't know if his fiance would like that, but
she would love it.
If Arizona State makes a college football playoff run, anything is possible.
Can we talk about something football related here? All week I have been covering, will Patrick Mahomes be able to play?
Yes.
And I go out and we shoot practice. Either Marlia or myself go out and shoot practice, which is really just him stretching or walking around. Yeah. I did get video of him yesterday throwing a pass and then immediately, okay, guys, that's it. Turn the cameras off. But we did. So that's all I've been focused on. And so I'm thrilled. We get the news yesterday that it appears that he's going to be able to start. I'm excited. I'm feeling good. Tell all the fans, hey, it's a happy day. And then I start doing radio. And today, all I'm doing is all these stations around the country saying, are you guys idiots? You've clinched your division. You got a 2 game cushion over the Bills. Come on, rest him no matter what. Your left tackle situation still fluid. Nobody knows exactly what to expect there. Why would you put Patrick Mahomes in harm's way? Let him rest. Yeah. Then he comes back and plays the next 2 games, the last 2 games. So what do you think, Jared? Do you think that we've been making a mistake in being glad that he can play?
Well, it's different. It's a different conversation today than it was Monday or Tuesday, right? Because the thought was, okay, he might be a limited practice participant. He might be a game-time decision. No. He full participant every day. As you said, they're not doing a whole lot when we're there and even after we leave when they're playing this many games in this many days. But he's not even on the injury report. Like, they truly think that isn't he about 100% this time of year, Neal? No. But they really aren't worried at all. And so that's where I go, okay, if it's at that level, Carson Wentz is not a better quarterback than Mahomes. The question is, would he benefit from just a mental break? And that, in Mahomes' 8th year, I don't think is a thing. I trust Patrick Mahomes. Did he play well in Cleveland? No. But I don't think a day off is suddenly going to make Patrick Mahomes a better quarterback. I think it's just execution in that given day, more reps. So then I say no. But Neal, if you want to sit here and say they should rest him, no, I don't think you're crazy.
I'm not saying that. But I guess what I'm getting at is that a lot of people that I really respect, I started going online.
Yeah.
After I got done with radio at about 9 this morning, I went online and looked. There are a lot of credible people around the NFL, people who are not wackos, people who don't have an agenda, who are saying, gosh, maybe it might be best if he sit out. We know his ankles probably won't be 100%. Based on what happened to him at the end of the game in Cleveland. So why not give him their offensive line situation, give him a day off. And if Wentz is in trouble and they're behind late, fine, bring him back in on a white horse and he can be the superstar. But why not give him a week, one less opportunity to get hurt? Because everybody agrees the Chiefs have a much, much higher chance of making the Super Bowl, of winning their playoff games if they've got Patrick Mahomes than if they have Carson Wentz.
Yeah, it's a kind of darn if you do, darn if you don't, because if you lose the game, then it's a must-win game on a short week at Pittsburgh, then at Denver.
But it wouldn't be short on him. If he sat out, it wouldn't be a short week.
But nonetheless, even if it wasn't, it's still a tough matchup. And then can you imagine the outcry if Mahomes was healthy, they decided to start Carson Wentz, and they eventually lose the number 1 seed to the Bills? That's tough. I think since he's fine, or as fine as you can be, you put your best out there and you let the chips fall there where it may. But it's an interesting conundrum. It's one I thought we were going to have more of a conversation based on how the week went. But, Neal, part of this is Mahomes is a freak. Like, he gets hurt every year and plays through injury like most quarterbacks can't.
Let's be real careful about this because I'll bet you, like you said it, how many healthy guys are there? a lot of players in the NFL
It's true.
are playing hurt. How many times do we see offensive linemen crawling around? They can barely get up. They go out for a play or two, and then they're right back in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the mentality.
That's a good point.
And these guys don't get to where they've been without playing through pain. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Quarterback, at least that position, you don't get hit very often.
Right.
Okay?
Well, not on this offense of late. I mean, I think if the best argument, Neal, to starting Carson Wentz is if you don't think your offensive line can protect anybody.
Right.
And this year they haven't really done a great job of that. But the hope is that they will and they'll get better. We don't know if Joe Tooney's going to start again at left tackle tomorrow or if it'll be Wanya Morris, if his time off has helped. We know it won't be DJ Humphries. But I don't think, Texans have a fine defense, but there's no one like Myles Garrett. So that's where I'm fine when I'm out there. But, Neal, let me add this element to the conversation. Is it important for Mahomes to play to get reps with Hollywood Brown, who's set to make his season debut? He hasn't gotten reps with him in a game setting ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's an argument for doing it. There's no question about it. I'm wondering how much action he'll see. I asked Andy Reid, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I guess it was yesterday. I asked him, I said, how's he look? And he said, well, remember, it wasn't his legs that were hurt. It was his chest.
Yeah.
And so he's been able to work out and run the whole time.
He said that because he'd been listening to you on these platforms. You've been talking about that from day one. He said, Neal, you make a great point.
No, he's never said my name because he doesn't know my name. Although I think if he saw me in a crowd, he would say,
I think so.
That he would probably know who I know that face.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't know. But the point is that Andy made it clear, Coach Reid made it clear, look, he is moving really, really well. I had a source who told me, I said, boy, I wish I could go in and shoot practice. And they said, so you could see Hollywood Brown torching our defensive backs.
Yeah.
And I thought he was just teasing me. And then later in the day, Andy Reid comes out with we expect him to play. And will Hollywood change the entire offense? No. But another fast person in this offense cannot hurt it.
Yeah.
It can't hurt.
Especially, obviously everybody's a focus. Well, Neal, what was the biggest storyline at a training camp, if you can think back to August?
Before the first preseason game, one of the biggest storylines was, wow, Hollywood Brown is on the same page with the quarterback. He looks like the quickest, fastest guy at training camp. Forget the 40 times with the guy from the Longhorns. It's the Sooner who looks fastest during football.
Well,
plays.
I would say that's true, but I would say the bigger storyline was grouping them all together in the deep balls. You saw practice so many times, and how many times did you shoot the deep balls from Mahomes, which is something we hadn't seen in recent years? I think that was top storyline. And so now getting him back, the ability to throw more deep balls, something they've not done hardly at all in the regular season. I think
who does this help? It helps the rookie on the other side, Xavier Worthy, and it helps
Travis Kelce. I
was going to say Taylor Swift's boyfriend, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. The more because I don't expect if they hit a deep ball route tomorrow to Hollywood Brown and it runs right in front of Neal's camera, I think that'll be great.
No, I won't shoot it. I'll be crying in joy. I'll be going, oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. So
when
you watch the replay, look for Neal on the sideline tomorrow. But I think he can still have a great impact because it's not like he's just a deep ball guy. He can get open in those 10 to 15-yard routes like we've seen Xavier Worthy do some this year. Not at the level of Rice.
I'm not throwing the ball to him anywhere where they can come up and tee him up and blow him up like they did the very first play of the first preseason game.
So you think he's just running flies and posts?
I don't know, but I would be real careful about how I use him. I would not have him crosses. Remember, he's how many months away? He got operated on in August, right? Mm-hmm. So August, September, October, November, December. So he's 5 months out of surgery on his shoulder. Yeah. I just assume not test that. But absolutely, I would want him to get on the same page with Patrick Mahomes, particularly on those go routes. And if nothing else, when he runs deep, the safeties have to respect it. And guess what that does? On the other side of the field, creates an opportunity with number one, the rookie.
Yeah, well, and also something you and I have been critical of is the run game. I think if it pushes guys back, it allows for more burst from Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. Neal, let me ask you this, an interesting question. As we look towards the Texans, the Browns game, the Chiefs kind of jumped out to an early lead. The Browns were turning the ball over. It looked like, okay, this one's not going to be particularly close. And it was a little interesting. We saw the Chiefs throw the ball a ton in the second half, and not particularly well, not very effective. an idea that somebody threw out is the Chiefs are like, okay, this game is in hand. Let's work on our passing game. Like, let's work on getting some deep balls. Like, Mahomes threw some balls that he probably shouldn't have.
He had open receivers.
Exactly, and
shorter
he still
route,
threw it deep.
So you're right about that.
Were they saying, you know what, it doesn't matter if this doesn't work, let's try to get the deep passing game going more? Is that a possibility?
You know, usually the play is designed a certain way, and Patrick has certain reads, and he's supposed to follow the reads, follow his keys, and throw to the right receiver. So this is like the internet. These are little trolls, who sit around and they come up with stuff, and that's a great click point, right? Yeah. Oh, were the Chiefs really trying to? And then you think that's ridiculous. Then you might be in a press conference and you say, was there a little of that? And Matt Nagy might go, yeah, we were trying to get the ball deep.
Right.
So I've given up on trying to figure out what Andy Reid's trying to do.
It's a plausible theory.
But there are times when they are doing stuff like that. Yeah. And then it's like, why would he throw the ball deep when he had Travis Kelce over the middle for a first down? And then you find out at the game, I'm trying to get this guy involved. I'm trying to get the football to so-and-so.
That's where I almost hope that was the case, right? That's where that's my Chiefs colored glasses as to why Mahomes wasn't very good against the Browns.
So I was digging in earlier this week, and I haven't been able to use any of this stuff because the story has not been on the Texans. The story has been on the Chiefs. Texans, they're on their way. They've clinched their division. They're going to go to the playoffs under a really good quarterback, C.J. Stroud, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Dangerous running the football in terms of a lot like Mahomes. He runs when he needs to run, and he runs as far as he needs to go to make the first down. He's a good player, no question about it. But as good as they've been, 9 wins, they are only 1-3 in games against teams with winning records. They've only played 4 games against teams with winning records. They beat the Bills, though. Okay, they did. They beat them there in Houston back in October. They beat them 23-20. But they got embarrassed at the Vikings 34-7. They got beat by the Packers in a good game in Green Bay 24-22.
Sure.
Then they lost to the Lions at home in Week 10 26-23. So they have not been great against winning teams. One of the narratives in going on radio down there is this is our opportunity in Houston to really prove that we can play with the big boys. Until they are beaten,
that's fair.
The Chiefs may not be the team playing best in the AFC. That might be Buffalo, but they are the team with the best record. They're the 2-time defending champions. This is a great opportunity for us. Meanwhile, the Chiefs have played 6 games against teams with winning records. They're 5-1.
Yeah,
5-1. So, but recently, they've been, other than the Chargers game, they played some rummies, and the Chiefs were not able to rout anybody. So I think that Houston comes in thinking, boy, this is a team that we can get. We might be getting them at the right time with Mahomes being banged up a little bit. Our defensive front is going to dominate their offensive line.
Sure.
And so they've got to feel pretty good about themselves as they come into this game.
The Chiefs get everybody's best shot most of the time. And at least this year, they've taken care of business. Hasn't been pretty, Neil. But with that as the setup, so do you see tomorrow being another close game? Because I do. I think the Chiefs will win, and I think they'll win by like 3.
I keep waiting for them to lose a game.
Oh, okay.
And I think it might be in Pittsburgh on Christmas Day. That was the one I thought that's a pretty tough lift. They will have played more games a shorter period of time, so that might be the game that they would lose. But I don't know why, but I think they're going to play well. I think they felt really good about themselves after they beat the Chargers. I think they were really celebrating, really happy. I think last week they felt like the defense did a lot of good things. But their offense, as you said, it misfired. They had that one good drive. They have a lot to prove.
Yeah.
So I feel good about the game, but I think I just don't see them blowing anybody out now.
Right. And that's where me saying that is not a hot take. That's how most games have been, and I just think that's what this team is. But they continue to find ways to win. And if they win the next 2 games, they'll have the number 1 seed clinched and not even have to play in Denver and have all kinds of rest, which will be great. So Neal Jones will be on the sideline tomorrow. Look for him.
You're going to be out there too, right?
I'll be eating crab cakes in the press box.
That's great. I think it's great that you guys have a little flashlight and you flash the light at me to let me know where you're sitting.
The Chiefs didn't do Neal any favors because They're bringing in all these OU guys. Hollywood Brown, an OU guy. Neil's so happy to see. They got Samaje Perine. They got Wanya Morris out there. That's why Neil still mourns over Orlando Brown. I miss you, Orlando Brown. I mean, all.
What about the center, Creed Humphrey, James Winchester?
Yeah, well, the second longest tenure chief. I mean, it's Sooner Central. I think Andy Reid does know Neil because he's like, yeah, that's the guy the front office always wants to please. That's what it is.
And I just want to tell everybody, don't go away. We're going to be talking some Dallas Cowboys coming up in a few minutes. I just been talking Cowboys with our number one evening editor, who's not the chief editor, is Lori Butcher, but Rusty is back over here, and he informs me that with a 6-8 record, the Cowboys are still very much alive in the playoff hunt if they can win their last 3 games.
Rusty loves Mike McCarthy, Baker's own. All right, Baker grad. Neil, have you been to Baker? Have you been to Baldwin City?
I have not. My mother-in-law was a baker. She was a Tri-Delta baker.
And you never went to see where she went?
Wow. It's a great school. I've heard a lot of great things about it.
It's where my mom went. So
but why would I go there?
They've got a train. That was my selling point, and I didn't do a very good job of it.
They got a train.
They produced Mike McCarthy, all right?
I like him, and he's a good guy. He coached
and they produced Gretchen Koller, so shout out my mom.
Oh, well, that's good. That's very good.
All right, we're going to get to a topic that was on Talk Radio this week, and then Gabe and I talked about it yesterday, and it went pretty well, and I said, you know what? Maybe I should talk with Neil about this. Some people here may not want me to talk about it, but you know what? I cannot be silenced. Royals Hall of Fame ballot is open, Neil, and there are 9 names on the ballot, only every other year. Do you get a chance to vote on the ballot? Fans do have a small percentage of the vote. This year's class, Alex Gordon, Wade Davis, Gerard Dyson, Yordano Ventura, Kelvin Herrera, Billy Butler, Joaquim Soria, Carlos Beltran, and Johnny Damon. Neil, you've been here long enough to where you've covered all of those guys, even Johnny Damon and Carlos Beltran, who are the oldest of that list. And you saw the newest members, the first-time names, guys like Alex Gordon, Wade Davis, and Gerard Dyson, Kelvin Herrera. When I listened to those names, Royals fans couldn't vote up to 5. I think we know Alex Gordon is a shoo-in, but is there anyone else that right now here on KC Sports Night you would like to say, you know what, that guy absolutely should be in the Royals Hall of Fame?
Well, a bunch of those guys do. But if you're only going to have one per year that goes in, I think it probably ought to be Gordon because of the role he played. He was their first-round draft pick. He's the guy that they refused to trade. He had struggles
career
at third
Royal,
base. Yeah. Move him down to the minors. He comes back as a left fielder, and his attitude and the way he approached the game permeated that clubhouse and really rubbed off on a lot of the younger guys when they came up. He was the guy that they looked at. He was a pro. He knew how to prepare for games. He was the one going, fellas, let's get back to the hotel. Let's.
Yeah,
we got
which was game. Needed when you had Eric Hosmer and Gerard Dyson, who were young guys wanting to go out.
Let's. I know we don't have to be until whatever, but I've heard stories. I haven't talked to him about that, but I've heard stories about some of the guys going, no, he really kind of set the tone for us.
He did.
But I'm telling you, Johnny Damon
was
a real star on bad teams, and Johnny Damon. No matter what happened, he was out there playing center field. It was 100 degrees, and the team had lost 7 or 8 in a row. He's out there batting leadoff, playing center field, doing the best he could. He didn't want to leave Kansas City, but he understood if I'm going to play in the postseason. Of course, he got traded to Oakland first, the A's, and then eventually to the Red Sox and then to the Yankees. And, he was the same to me. When he would come back into town and I would say, hey, can I get a live shot with you tomorrow? And he's like, yeah. He's not somebody who got the World Series ring and got the long hair and he became a rock star celebrity in Boston and in New York.
The idiots, is that what they call
Yeah, that's what they call it. And he was sort of one of the poster children for that.
Yeah.
But he never changed. He was still the same nice person.
That's good.
I like him so much. I admire that. This is a guy who made multi-millions of dollars, and yet he acted like he did when he came up straight out of the minor leagues. And so he holds a special place. But so many of those guys, those names bring up so many wonderful memories. And Joaquim Soria and those guys, I just have so much respect for them, and they were fun to root for. So it'll be fun. Eventually, all of them, I'm sure, will be in the Royals Hall of Fame.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but because keep in mind, Neil, there's only 19 players in the Royals Hall of Fame. Is that because they've only inducted 3 since 2007, I think.
Yeah, but look,
because they haven't been very good there for a while.
Well, but you've got guys that carried them to the postseason and had success.
I agree.
Some of those guys.
But the bar is higher than I think people realized from getting in.
Kirk Robinson's in, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Herc Robinson's
Well, let me check. But why I say that, Johnny Damon and Carlos Beltran have been on the ballot for years, and they're still not in, Neil.
Well,
I mean, I think they might have missed their window. And so that's where I ask you now the question that I think that I see both sides to. When talking about the Royals Hall of Fame, do you put more stock into individual performance, like Beltran and Damon, who couldn't control the team around them, or stock in those other guys who helped the team win a World Series or win back-to-back pennants, despite maybe not being, you could argue Carlos Beltran was better than Alex Gordon, but Alex Gordon was on better teams, did it for longer.
Let me ask you a question. Would Damon and Beltran start on those World Series teams?
Yes.
Yeah, they would have.
So
does that answer anything?
So that's where you don't look at their
I'm
what
saying
their team
you can
did.
only play the hand you got, and they were on bad baseball teams, and they put up great numbers, had great attitudes, played hard. It didn't matter. They were gamers.
They were.
They played. It's like me working with you. I understand. I'm going to bring it no matter who I get get to work with.
Herc Robinson is not in the Royals Hall of Fame.
He's not.
No, he's not. Sorry to break it to you there. But yeah, I mean it's been tough to get. I mean, like I said, the only new inductees are Mike Sweeney.
Sweeney was the best player on terrible teams.
Yeah, but Sweeney was here a lot longer. That's why I think he got in instead of Beltran and Damon more. And then Ned Yost, but that's a manager. Yeah, I mean Sweeney is the only Kevin Apier, but he was inducted later too. Mark Gubazal was 2006. So it's a fascinating conversation, Neil, because the bar is higher than I think people realize, and that's where you look at a guy like Wade Davis, Neil. He was only a Royal at his peak for 3 years.
But
look at the
3
16.
years.
But he was the best closer and one of the best closers of all time in that 3 years, and that's why I would put him in. But if you want to go longevity, or overall contributions, like Joakim Soria did more longer than Wade Davis. But
who's more famous? Hall of Fame.
So
who's more famous? Johnny Damon, the face of the franchise, or Wade Davis, who was a great pitcher for 3 years? I think they're both.
I'd go Wade. Here in Kansas City, I'd go Wade Davis.
No.
Nationally, Damon.
No.
Speaking in Kansas City?
No, this is local. This is localism. Okay. This is you because it's more recent, and because of your age.
So wait, are you more pro Johnny Damon than Carlos Beltran? If you had to pick who was better or who deserves to be in the Royals Hall of Fame more, Damon or Beltran?
They're equally great,
okay.
But I think Beltran. I think that
because I think Beltran.
Johnny Damon he really was the face of the franchise. Remember the commercials they did with George? Oh, you did. This was before you were old enough to turn on the TV.
I was alive for Johnny Damon.
Do you remember the commercials with him and George Brett watching TV together?
I've seen the clips. I didn't watch them live.
Okay, he was the face of the franchise. He was the guy. It's like Mike Sweeney was. Mike Sweeney was on the team. When I was doing radio, I'm like, who on this team do you want to come back for Old Timers Day? There's only one or two guys. The rest of these guys, I don't ever want to see them again.
That's funny. Well, so that not to transition to a sad name, but another kind of tough vote is Yordano Ventura. Neil, he's been eligible. This is, I believe, his second year time eligible. He's someone that he won 2 games in the World Series in 2014, pitched a shutout in Game 6, elimination game against the Giants. He was really good there for a couple years. His last year wasn't that great. And then, of course, he tragically passed away. I would be okay with putting him in because I think part of it is if he would have had a full career as a Royal, I think he's in. But he wasn't. Do we penalize him for that?
I don't know.
That's a tough one. Where do you stand?
I don't know that I would vote for him.
Okay.
And has nothing to do with the manner in which he passed away.
Right.
It just has to be the mark he put on him. Now, listen, starting pitching was an important component, but the pennant-winning teams were largely dominated by bullpen.
Neil, that's a great point. There's not a single – if Ventura doesn't get in, there's not a single starting pitcher that'll get in the Royals Hall of Fame from those pennant-winning teams.
Yeah, it's just – but –
that's kind of odd.
There's no perfect answer, and I haven't sat down and studied the numbers and everything. Right. But my first thought would be that the guys in that bullpen were the ones that you kind of said, okay.
Kelvin Herrera, would you put him? I mean, because HDH, Greg Holland is not eligible yet because he pitched longer, but Herrera was the 7th inning guy.
I think he was part of it.
Yeah,
those guys were the fulcrum that got them over the hump to win.
I agree.
To win the division and ultimately win the league, and then in the last year actually win the World Series.
The one that a lot of people are saying that's last on their list is Jared Dyson, in part because Neal, he was never a starting player for the Royals. He was always coming off the bench. But when you talk about like who has some of the biggest moments in Royals history, Jared Dyson was an incredibly valuable player. His defense, his ability to steal bases and clutch moments, like. I think a lot of people are like, no, not Dyson. Dyson might be more valuable than I think. I don't think he's going to get in. I don't think Billy Butler's going to get in, but Butler was really good.
Yeah, Butler was limited, and so was Dyson. They weren't everyday guys who Billy played a lot more, but he didn't have a defensive position. He was kind of a liability in that regard. They tried to get him to play first. Yeah. He wasn't able to do it,
especially when Hosmer came in. Yeah.
So I don't know about him, but it's an interesting discussion, no question.
Yeah,
let's go on to the college football playoff.
Feels like enough of this.
And this is interesting because I asked Gabe a little earlier. His alma mater, Arizona State, has got to bye this first round, but they are in the playoff. And a lot of people I'm talking to are like, we're not really into the playoff yet. Maybe they'll get into it once the games start.
I'm fired up, Neal. Are you?
I love college football, and I can't wait to see the games. But tomorrow I'll be at the Chiefs. I won't be able to watch them.
True.
And maybe I can DVR them and then watch them on Monday and Tuesday when I'm off.
Do you think college football should have done like a Thursday, Friday deal to avoid the NFL?
I think that they need to negotiate a thing with the NFL and go, look, we work with you. Will you work with us?
I guess it's the NFL kind of infringing on college football's territory, not the other way around.
It's a Saturday.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
That's a traditional time to play, and I'm not thrilled about it. The NFL's king.
Yeah.
And they are only going to do this. There are rumors, there have been rumors for a couple of years. College football people at the very top of the sport have been very concerned that eventually one of the partners, one of these either streaming networks like Amazon or Netflix, or one of the prime networks like CBS or Fox, NBC, might ask and do a deal with the NFL to have a late Saturday night game that would emanate from the West Coast of the United States. That means it would be like an 8 o'clock local or 7:30 local time out on the West Coast, which would mean it would be 9:30 Central Time.
Yeah.
A late night NFL game every Saturday night.
I don't like that.
I'm telling you, the networks can't get enough of the NFL, and they are willing to give them money. And for them, it's like, well, playing on Saturday night's not that much different than playing on Sunday. It's certainly better than playing on Thursday.
Well, and I mean, this year we're seeing with the Chiefs, right? They're playing on a Wednesday. They're playing on a Monday, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday. It's like they're growing, and no one's stopping them. But I as someone who likes more than just the NFL, I'm not a fan of it.
No, I think it's I wish the Chiefs were not playing on Saturday. I understand why they are, because they got to turn around and play on Wednesday. Yeah. So they need, something. I wish they had a bye instead.
Yeah, missing some good games. So when we look at these first 4 games, Neal, is there a particular matchup you're especially intrigued to see the outcome of?
All of them are, I think, are very interesting. Obviously, Clemson, Texas at Texas is fun, but Ohio State, Tennessee at up at Ohio State is going to be exciting.
And Will Howard, K-State,
absolutely,
former Wildcat.
Can you imagine? Indiana, the University of Indiana gets to play at Notre Dame. I don't know when they're playing it, but it snowed a ton there this week.
They're playing tonight. Indiana Notre Dame is the Friday night game. Yep.
So it's and some of this is
our meteorologist Gabe Swartz says it's not snowing tonight, but Penn State and State College tomorrow could have some snow. Again, that was our First 1-5 meteorologist Gabe Swartz. So take that to the bank. Okay. He's laughing at me back there. That's not great. But he's coming over. Neal, watch out. He's ready to swing.
But I will say this.
If ASU wins the national championship, I will get frosted tips.
Oh,
that's good.
That's
good.
That's not impossible.
He'll have to grow his hair out.
Now. But that's where Neal, is Arizona State the most who are you most rooting for in this field? Because I think Arizona State's an underdog that could do well.
They played so well. When I saw them at K-State, I couldn't believe how good their freshman quarterback was. The bad thing is their best receiver, who's one of the best receivers in all of football, he got hurt.
Yeah.
They don't think he's going to be able to play. That really, really, you talk about pulling.
It's true.
Look at the receivers Patrick Mahomes has lost. It's the same thing for ASU.
Well, and Georgia's without Carson Beck, they said today, at least for the first round.
Oh,
so
give me a break. Yeah, he was a real game changer.
I don't think so, but it's interesting after Florida State loses their quarterback last year and that they didn't get in. Obviously, Georgia, in a 12-team playoff, they deserved it.